Okay, so if you don't know this, I've actually been a huge fan of the Expend4bles series since it first came out. When that first movie came out and all those huge names were in it, I was like so stoked because I grew up watching all the movies that these huge, iconic 80s and 90s action star heavyweights, the movies they've done. I've been a huge fan of all those, and so when the first Expend4bles came out, I was like just super stoked because it's like, wow, you're going to have an action movie with all these guys in it. How do you even pull that off? And of course, when the second one came out, I saw it in theaters. Third one, I had a lot of fun with it, even though a lot of people had criticisms and disappointments with the third one, and some of them are obviously justified, but thinking that the third one was the last one, I had been hearing rumors that fourth one was going to be made for a long time, and then finally they announced last year that the fourth one was being filmed and going to be made. And when it was announced, the trailer was released, it's like, okay, the trailer doesn't look great, but I'm still excited. And so I got a chance to see this on opening night, Thursday, at the theater, and something a little odd, the theater was completely empty. Now, admittedly, the theater itself had not a lot of people at it. There was only like maybe 20 or 30 cars outside, and there was like, I don't know how many movies playing in the theater, so, I mean, that right there kind of explains why the theater was empty, but at the same time, I'm thinking, is this going to bomb? And if it turns out that this movie does bomb, I'm not going to be surprised, since I was like the only guy in the theater. Until the movie started, this really awesome black guy came in, and we exchanged pleasantries. But for some weird reason, he left 2 minutes before the movie was over. Not like, oh, it was a half hour to the ending and he saw it. No, literally, like, you could set your clock to it. He left right as they were wrapping stuff up. It's like, I guess he didn't want to see the last 2 minutes, but I'm getting beside myself. Today, it's time to review Expend4bles 4, or Expend4bles. Like, I hate when they put the double in the title, like Mithrigan. But anyway, let's get on with it.
If these babies go off, it'll be World War III. Take cover! To choose this life over friends, over family.
It's time to get loud.
Let's fly, baby!
So, real quick, credit where credit's due, I absolutely love, in hindsight, that the trailer doesn't spoil too much of this movie. Looking back at the trailer, it's like, yeah, no, initially I was thinking the trailer was lacking a little bit, like, okay, so I don't really know what this movie's about, and, yeah, no, like, I really appreciate that the trailer did not give away all of the story beats in it, and so that was pretty nice. And the story is kind of, I'll say, interesting with some of the beats they do. Like, it's not like the previous 3 films. It's, yes, you could say there's a revenge quest and whatnot, but the way they go about it is, I want to say, a little bit interesting, and it kind of was keeping my interest. It's like, okay, this is a little bit different from the first 3, but I kind of liked it, actually. And like, one of the things they kind of do with this movie is Jason Statham is now the heavier focal point of the movie. In the previous 3 films, Jason Statham was just a supporting character, especially with the third one. He's not in the third film that much, but he's just kind of like there as a supporting character. But in this one, Jason Statham is the lead, and which is interesting to me because for the past 3 films, Sylvester Stallone was the lead with those movies, and he's in this, but he's not the focal point, and I found that a little bit interesting. And if you look into it, it makes sense, but I do miss Caesar, or Terry Crews, or what I like to refer to as Terry Allen Crews. That's what he was going by earlier in his career. He was using his middle name. And so anytime I see Terry Crews, I think Terry Allen Crews. But it's a shame that he's not in this. I get why he's not in this. If you want to find out why he's not in this, you can do a little bit of researching on Google, and you'll be just like, oh, okay, yeah, that's why he's not in this. I kind of get that. But, you know, I missed him along with a couple of the other guys. I'll get more into that later on in the review. And in terms of the story, admittedly, some of the surprises in this movie actually worked. It's like, oh wow, I did not see that coming. But some of the other surprises do not work. Like my special needs nephew could see them coming from a mile away. I don't have a special needs nephew, by the way. And so it's just, I wish some of the writing was a little bit more refined, a little bit tighter, simply because you had some good surprises, but you had some really lame ones as well. And I would have liked to them, like, not have any, or really focus on making the lame ones work a little bit better. And then one of the characters introduced in this is Iko Uwais, if I'm pronouncing his name right. I'm not trying to be insulting. He was the main character in The Raid Redemption and The Raid 2. He's been in a lot of movies since those came out. Those were like kind of his big break. And he's one of those martial art expert action stars. And like his role, I felt it would have been perfect and really awesome to have tied it in with his role in Mile 22. That's a fun action movie if you haven't seen it. But like honestly, like when he came on screen, it was just like I was getting some real Mile 22 vibes. Now you could round that up to, well, he only has one filling he can do, and that's about it. And sure, you could say that, but honestly, I don't think it would have been really hard or even expensive to have gone to Peter Berg and say, hey, you want to wrap your Mile 22 movie in with the Expend4bles 4? He probably would have said yes. Hell, he probably would have been open to directing this one. Speaking of directors, I'm not entirely happy with the director of this film because he did a lot of things I wasn't nuts about. Case in point, really close up fight scenes that just are way too close to the camera and you can't see all of the hits, and it doesn't work. It was a little disappointing in some of the scenes because it's like I can kind of tell that some of the fight choreography is good, but the camera was just a little bit too close for comfort, and I didn't like that. And another thing I didn't like was, yes, all four of the films utilized a lot of CGI for action scenes, stunts, but the fourth film, like, whereas the first three films had like about 50 to 60% CGI and they had a lot of practical stunts that looked great, in this one it feels like 98% of the stunts and like set pieces were all CGI and not even great CGI. And it's just like, look, I know it's a bit harder to do some of these like car flips and crashes and stunts and action set pieces practically, but it wouldn't have been that much more difficult, and I kind of miss that. Going back to kind of an earlier point with Iko Uwais? Again, not trying to mispronounce his name, but if they got Garth Evans from The Raid to direct this would have been freaking awesome. That guy knows how to do a fight scene. And so all the fight scenes would have been fan-fucking-tastic, spectacular. And I just kind of wish that they had a little bit more of that director's eye with some of the fight scenes. All the fight scenes aren't terrible, but it just kind of adds up. There's a couple of fight scenes where it's just quick cuts with every single hit, which I hate, but this isn't the worst movie to implement that. It's just, I would have preferred a better director with this film. Now, one aspect of the movie I was not looking forward to. I didn't think it was going to work. I thought it was going to be the worst part of the movie was Megan Fox. And to be completely honest, does she have bad lines? Yes. Does she not completely deliver the character all the time? Yes. But she wasn't the worst aspect of the movie. There's actually a few times that she did crack me up, especially when you first meet her. There's some funny shit in that scene. And so, did I not like the character? No. I thought the character was fine, but I think the character would have worked better with like a Ronda Rousey, who was in the third one, or like a Gina Carano, or like someone who actually has the build and body and history of like fight choreography to kind of pull it off. I don't think Megan Fox has a history of fight choreography. If she does, my bad. But like some of the fight scenes with her, some of them work, some of them really don't. And so, was she a terrible aspect of the movie? I would say no. There's some aspects that really don't work, but she was not the worst part of the movie. And so, credit where credit's due. But going to a previous point I made about veteran actors that were in the series, like Caesar or Terry Crews, there was a couple of heavy actors that I really missed. Like, no Jet Li in this, which kind of sucks. No Arnold Schwarzenegger. Harrison Ford doesn't return. They replace him with a no CIH stooge played by Andy Garcia. And it would have been nice to just have a walk-on cameo with Harrison Ford. I understand why Bruce Willis couldn't do it, but I mean, it would have been nice to have had some of these veteran actors come back. Maybe a cameo from Mickey Rourke, and like some of the ones that do return, nothing's really done with them. It's just a little disappointing. I'm glad we got Dolph Lundgren, Randy Couture back, but honestly, I could have used more with them, if you get my drift. And there's some like missing plot points with the previous film, like this kind of coalesces with the returning like heavyweight actors, like no Kelsey Grammer, no Ronda Rousey, and like even a returning subplot with Jason Statham character Christmas getting married to his girlfriend. She's completely gone, missing, no reference to what happened with her. And like the actress who played her, I don't think she's particularly expensive to get. I don't think it was like, hey, we gotta get Charlize Theron, she's asking too much. I don't think that was the case, because I don't know if she's really doing anything right now, but just nothing with that subplot. And so there's just a couple of subplots in this film that are just missing from previous films. And so I didn't particularly like that. Now with one of the new characters, Curtis Jackson, or Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, or Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, he doesn't do anything amazing here, but I want to give credit where credit's due. I'm glad he's still doing movies. There was this period of time where like every rapper tried their hand at movies, and most of them tried one movie and that was it, and they just went off to do something else. Curtis Jackson, he's stuck with it all these years, and I'm glad to still see him trying to do movies. Even if you might say that you don't like his acting or you feel he's winning, I'm glad he's still trying. And damn it, kudos there, Curtis. But with the legacy actors, there's also like new actors they've introduced, like younger actors, supporting cast actors. Again, they don't get a lot of time to really shine in this, because most of the focal point is on Jason Statham and kind of some of the others, and that's really about it. And so there's a lot of new characters introduced, like this Asian assassin female badass martial artist, and like she's cool, but I didn't have enough time to really connect with characters like her, Curtis Jackson, and a couple of the others. With the exception of one, I know it's not pronounced this way, but Jacob Scorpio is the best way to pronounce his name. He's introduced as a relative to a former character that I really liked in the third one, and I like that they had that link with that character, because it's like man, I really would have liked to have seen that character back, but when they mentioned, like, yeah, this is a relative of his, it's like, okay, that's kind of cool. And he does do a good job emulating that character's, or that actor's character from the third one. So I really like that. I don't really want to spoil it because I'm trying to keep this as spoiler-free as humanly possible. So I thought that was pretty cool. But going down to probably one of the worst aspects of this movie was the main villain. They try making it this surprise and it just doesn't work. And like, while watching the movie, I was thinking, okay, so who's it going to be? Are they going to bring back like Eric Roberts or Jean-Claude Van Damme or Mel Gibson, have it like a clone or evil twin, or just, oh, you didn't actually kill me the first time? Like, I was thinking like along those lines, and when it turned out like who the main villain was, it's just like, so that was a little disappointing, but okay, at least we get to see a bunch of guys, you know, who do action scenes. So in the end, the Expend4bles or Expend4bles was my least favorite chapter in this series, but I still had fun with it. I mean, it's a good popcorn flick if you know what you're getting into. If you're expecting, you know, War and Peace here, you're gonna hate this movie. But if you've enjoyed the previous 3 Expendable movies and you're just hoping to see, you know, Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, and a couple of the others like kicking ass, taking names, then you'll have some fun with this movie. Will this bomb at the box office? Possibly. We just have to wait and see how the first box office take is. And I think the budget for this was like $100 million, so it's possible with international markets to get up high enough, but I don't know, it's kind of like a wait and see. So anyway, what do you guys think of the Expend4bles? What do you guys think? Did you guys enjoy this? If you've seen already, are you guys looking forward to this? Do you hope they make another one? I kind of would hope they do another one with Jason Statham now as the lead. So that's kind of been my thoughts on the film. And my name's Christopher Connell of 11 Hour Reviews, and that will be all for today.